When you look at demand, I believe demand for your products in the fourth quarter was actually going up nicely, and then boom, we have these lockdowns, and actually we have variations of the virus. What can you tell us about, what comes after the fourth quarter?
Thank you for having us on today. The demand in the fourth quarter was good and much stronger than what we expected before the fourth quarter also. Driven by demand for automotives, building and construction, and also for a company like Hydro, the can segment. And through this second wave, through re-emergences of different COVID scenarios, we see demand holding up quite strong because operations are still producing and consumers are still consuming. So whereas earlier we expected the demand increase to be much driven by restocking after large destocking in the second quarter, we now see automotive sales stats, etc., ticking upwards, and that really underpins the demand for aluminium.
Mr. Kildemo, when you look at some of the semiconductor shortages that we're seeing across the world, it's impacting automakers or automaker parts. How is it impacting your company?
So far, it has not impacted our company. However, we read about the scenarios where that could impact the production chain for automotive. If that was the case, that could impact the demand from us. But we haven't received or seen any signs from our customers so far. Part of this. Sorry?
Are you expecting chip shortages to actually worsen?
We don't have a strong view on chip shortages and the demand-supply balances of those. So I'm not in a position to comment on it. Based on our dialogue with customers, they're not reducing their offtake. So we're still estimating to produce the same volumes.
There's, of course, this green premium emerging on this low-carbon aluminium. What does it mean for your company? How can you get into that space?
It means a lot. This is the differentiator for a company like Hydro in the years to come. We have for years been pushing greener products. We have Hydro CIRCAL, Hydro REDUXA, which are low CO2 content or recycled products, and we've not been able to get the premium on them. Now we're getting good premiums and volume commitments, and that is differentiating us as an aluminium producer. So this is the key strategic, interesting development that has really emerged over the latter years.
So how big could that actually become? If I speak to you, and I hope to have many interviews before then, but if I speak to you in 2-3 years, how much in terms of percentage of your sales will you be doing in that space?
Well, if you look at a company like Hydro, we produce a bit over 2 million tons of aluminium. And as you started in the introduction, we are one of the largest players, at least outside China. Of that, our Norwegian capacity, which is half, 1 million tons, can produce the Hydro REDUXA brand. In addition, we could be able to produce another 400,000 tons probably in our Brazilian operations and some more of the other satellite sites. So 50 to 75% could fall within these based on current setup. Then we are also doing quite a lot to further improve the CO2 print from our other operations, which could further increase this level.
Where do you see the price of aluminium actually going from here?
Well, the aluminium price has increased quite substantially from where we were in the second quarter. And we are actually now trading a bit above the cost curve, also helped by strong financial interest for aluminium. We don't guide externally on the price, but given the current strong demand, it is underpinning the current price levels that we're seeing in the markets.
I mean, is it a good time maybe for investors to look to hedge some of the price?
That's a good question, because we don't do a lot of hedging for aluminium, but we have increased some of our hedging positions due to the fact that we are trading at the levels which are usually seen at the better part of the cycle. But that's not only the aluminium price. That is the difference between the aluminium price and the raw materials which are needed to produce aluminium. That spread is quite good these days. And that's why we've hedged a bit more than we normally do.
Pal Kildemo, when you look at the Biden administration, what does it mean for trade globally, and how much of a lift does simply the Biden administration give to Hydro?
Well, we are a global company, so trade flows globally are something we depend on. We are also a quite sustainable company in the aluminium sample space. And the new policy or the new commentary around climate ambitions and rejoining the Paris Agreement, etc., that we believe will be positive for our operations in the Americas, but also globally. The different trade barriers can cause distortions, of course, but with a global system, we've been able to redirect our flows and not necessarily suffer large losses as a result of these trade measures.